Hello. Welcome to this new episode of Code Researcher. All right. So, in this episode, we are going to learn how to implement an animated splash screen in Flutter. It is very simple, it is very straight to the point. I'm not going to talk much, so let's get to work. So, here, as you can see, I have my main page. I've cleaned the page and I've created a screen called a splash screen with just a text, right? So let me run it and let's see what we have. Yeah, so the app has run and we can all see what we have there. Yeah, so now we want to create an animated splash screen, and the first thing we need is a package called a splash screen, right? Animated splash screen. That is the package that we need. So we are going to get it right now. So Flutter pop add, and we call animated, right, splash screen. Then we call that. So let's wait for it to add. Yeah, so now we can check our spec and we should have our animated splash screen. That's great. And then before that, we also have to get in our assets. I've already added the animation that I want to use for my splash, right? So in doing that, as you can see, the animation is a JSON file, which I've gotten from Lottie files. So if you need such, you can just go online. You can just go online and search Lottie files, right? And then from here, you can go download any type of animated or animation you want in a JSON format. All right. So that was where I got this animation from. Netflix logo swoosh. Yeah, that's where I got the animated Netflix logo from. So we want to use this Lottie animation. So because of that, we would have to add a new package which is called Lottie, right? So we go in for Flutter pop add Lottie. So this is the package that we'll use to run the Lottie file. All right. As you can see, our Lottie has been installed with other APIs that it needs to run. Yeah, so now all we have to do is to reference this in here. All right. So yeah, this is our splash screen and we want to show that animation when the app first ran. So the first thing we do is to clear this and then reference Lottie. All right. So we'll do Lottie, so Lottie.assets. All right. You can either add from file, assets, network, or memory. We already have it in our assets, so we'll be adding the file from assets, right? So Lottie.assets, and then we specify the name of that asset. All right, so we just have to go here, right click on this, copy the path reference, all right, which is copy from roots, and then we put it here. So this now becomes our asset. All right, yeah, so let's have it this way. Then let's rerun the app and see what we will have. Yeah, so now you can see we have the Netflix animated or intro. All right, so now because this is our splash screen and we want to move from this screen to another one, we would have to first take this, cut it, and then we will call animated splash screen, right? We'll call this, okay? Yeah, so we'll call this. It has two required fields, which is the splash and then the next screen. All right, the splash is what you want to show or whatever thing you would want to show, and then after some minutes or after some duration it moves to the next screen. All right, so with the splash we'll replace it with our Lottie file or our Lottie assets, and then the next screen now will be our home screen, right? So let's create a new screen that we would call home. All right, so let's just call it home screen. Okay, so we'll call this our home screen, and then inside this we'll return a scaffold, return a body which will be in the center, and then we'll return a child which will be a text, and then we will say this is the home screen. All right, yeah, so this becomes our home screen. So we'll go back to the splash screen and then we specify that as our home screen, as you can see. Yeah, so now let's rerun the app and see what we got. Yeah, so now you can see that we have our Netflix, but the icon is very small. So from here we can specify animated splash screen has a place where we can specify the duration, we can specify the curve, we can specify the splash and all that. So we want to specify the icon size, right? So call splash icon size. So let's specify 120, rerun and see what we would have. Okay, this still feels small, so let's do 120 times 2. So we are going to have 240 as the icon size. Let's do that and see what we have. Okay, so I think this is cool. All right, so now let's fully close the app and rerun it. So let's close the app and rerun. Yeah, so as you can see, that's the animation. Now you realize that when I run the app, an icon was showing, which was the Flutter icon, but we want to take that out. So to take that out, we need another package, which is the Flutter native splash package, right? So we will run Flutter pub get Flutter native splash. So let's get this package. Sorry, let's add this package and use it. So we wait for it. Yeah, so after that we just run Flutter pub get or our Flutter get. All right, so let's get everything result. So let's go to our pub spec and see if the package has been added. So the package has been added, which is the Flutter native splash, but there is a configuration that would have to manually add. So we'll go back to our screen, our web page, and then look for this package, all right, Flutter native splash, all right. Then we'll go inside this and then go pick this package. So when you come, you copy all this, right? Copy all this line, and then we do our configuration from here. Yeah, so we've copied that. We just move back to our app, and then at the far bottom here, we just paste it. Okay, so after pasting it, there are some few configurations that we would have to do. All right. Okay, so we have our native splash. When it scroll a little further, we have this. We specify the color for all platforms except Android 12, right? So we want to have black color 3, 4, 5, 6 in hex, right? So we'll have that in hex, and then we are going to specify for all platforms, we are not using any image, right? So we'll comment this out. All right, we'll comment that out, and then it should be full screen. Then when we come to Android 12, the background should also be black. 4, 5, 6. And then with the assets, we have to specify an asset for the logo. If not, Android 12 automatically or by default renders any logo or the app logo, which is currently the Flutter logo, on the splash. So we have to specify a blank asset or a blank image to represent that logo. All right. So when we come to assets, you can see that I've added this image called blank. All right, it's a blank image. Yeah, so it's nothing, but it's there. Yeah, so we'll go back to our pop spec, and then we'll specify that image here. So we have assets, images, and then we take this off. Yeah, so we have blank.png, and then the logo by default has a background. So we would have to take off that background color, which is also this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so for Android 12, we have the splash background as black. We specify the blank asset, and also we have a black icon color background. Okay, and then for any other platform, all other platform except Android 12, we are using only a black background. Yeah, so after this configuration, we have to run one last Flutter command to actually build that configuration, right? So we'll go back here, and then we'll pick that command from here. So we will run that. We call that run Flutter native splash, and then create. All right, so we'll do that run Flutter native splash, then create. So we run this to create or to initialize our Flutter native splash package, right? So let's run it. Wait for the build, and then everything is done. So now let's rerun the app, and then we should no more see the black, or we should no more see the Flutter icon. All right, so I'm going to close the app and then rerun it. So we have our app installing, and then we just have to pay attention to the splash. Yeah, so now we have the duck, and the only thing we see now is that the splash shows dark, but our animation has a white background. All right. So to take the white background off, we come to animated splash screen, and then we specify the background color. All right. So we come here, and then we specify the background color as black. Yeah. So now let's rerun our app. Yeah, so that is that. We've fully created an animated splash screen. Yeah, we've created an animated splash screen fully in Flutter. As you can see, all you need is 3 packages: the Lottie package for running the Lottie assets, which is this JSON. You need the Flutter native splash to do the configuration to change the background and remove the icon, and then you need the animated splash screen to move from the splash screen to the home screen. Yeah, so that is that. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've liked the session so far, and you follow for more episodes. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching this episode to the end. I'll see you in our next episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you in our next episode. Code with Sergio. Bye bye.